Yo, what's up, all you burner stones and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are ya?
Fantastic.
I love it. You want to know why?
Why?
Because we're about to get normal.
Yay.
Hopefully all you vipers out there are great in the world and you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. And we're about to get normal. We're smoking Dung Drop number 6, grown by our friend Miss Midwest Terps. Thank you, Midwest Terps, for this Dung Drop. It smells dungy. Oh, dungy. I love it. And we just had them on the show, so in honor of them entering this in Urban Legend Cup, we are going to smoke it tonight on the show. And especially had a great time with them on our 230th episode. Right, Mrs. Weedman? We had a great time with them.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
T&E were fun. We had a lot of laughs. We smoked a lot of weed. We were faded for a second there, and then we rolled it back in.
Faded.
Yeah, we were all pretty faded. So, but thank you, Midwest Terps, for being on our 230th episode and for being our second Renegade Sesh.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the Renegade Sesh is, that is a show that we do. We pick somebody in the legacy market, someone in the traditional market, somebody that maybe started in the legacy traditional market and made it through to, opening a dispensary, a legal dispensary or a legal cultivation, in any state. So it's called the Renegade Sesh. It's a storytelling time, fun, get baked, ask some questions, get some answers, conversation, flow, and get super stoned like we do. So what's good about having guests on, Mrs. Weedman and I really don't have to talk that much. We just get faded. So, but Dung Drop number 6, good luck on winning, Midwest Terps.
And so Mr. Weedman just talked about the Urban Legends Cup. So we are going to be vendors. 8 Decades will be vending, and Weedman 420 Chronicles will be there. The Urban Legends Cup is going to be this Sunday at Blue Island Beer Company, and it's a cup. It's a contest. It is everybody.
A cannabis cup.
Yep. It's everyone and anyone in the Illinois market that has good weed that they want to bring to the table is going to be represented there. I think they had over 50 entries.
Yeah, last year they had 64.
Yeah.
This year they had 50, I think.
Yeah. And so they're doing it a little differently this year with all of the samples being dropped off prior to the event. And then the day of the event will just be the cup. It'll be announcing the winners. So it should be a super fun day. You can grab tickets. If you pop on the 8 Decades Instagram, you'll find a link to get tickets. So I'll post probably a couple times this week. So just keep track of that. I believe there will be tickets at the door as well. It goes from 2 to 7 p.m. on Sunday.
Yep. Yeah. Come check us out. We'll have
fun.
our booth. I'll be rolling doinks, have some home grow, have some Big Earl grow, hopefully have some Midwest Terps grow, and hopefully have some Ralph Wiley grow. I'll see all those fellas hopefully in the next couple of days, and we'll get a couple little fun things going, and we'll have volcano bags, and we'll have plenty of doinks, and especially 8 Decades gear. And please don't forget to check out 8decades.com. What's coming up? Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate coming up through what we like to call Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then going into the Christmas holiday season. So make sure you check out 8decades.com for all your holiday gifts, for all your family, friends, and all your burner stoners and potheads. Check out 8decades.com. Right, Ms. Weedman?
That's right, Mr. Weedman.
That's right. So, hey, I'd like to thank something near and dear to my heart. We did episode 230 with Midwest Terps for the Renegade Sesh, and I've done 70 shows right now with the Grow Hour with our good friend Big Earl. And that is 300 episodes Mr. Weedman has done with lovely Mrs. Weedman.
Well, I have not done 300.
No,
nope.
But you have done 200
and
200 and I think, 15?
Probably.
215 episodes? Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
I think I got the hang of it by now.
I think so. I think we're pretty good. And so I've done 230 shows with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. We also, in the first few episodes, we had Paulie, Shawty, T, and Dovboy. And then I had Mr. G and Jay Cush help me out with a couple shows. And then Mrs. Weedman came on board on episode 15. And you've been stuck with me ever since. And then also started the Grow Hour, which will be going into our 2-year anniversary, the first of the year. And we've done 70 episodes of the Grow Hour. And that show is all about home grow, caregiver grow, We've talked about small cultivation grow. We've had IPM episode. We've had humidity episodes. We've had basement setup grow, all the way to breeders coming on the show and growers coming on the show, and that show has been phenomenal. A lot of fun. It's a learning show, but it's also some comedy, some ball busting, getting really baked sometimes. That show has evolved into something special. If you haven't listened to it yet, check out the Grow Hour. If you want to grow, or you want to learn to grow, or if you're a full-time grower, it's just a lot of fun. I'd like to thank all the guests we've had on over the last almost 2 years. We do a show. Big Earl and I do one, and then we have a guest on, and then we call it, the second show they come on is called Burping the Bag. If you understand what burping the bag is, it's how you burp your weed to, when you're curing it. And that show, we give the same guest that came on a second time an open platform to basically talk about what they want to talk about. And they let us know, and then we put together like some talking points, but we let them flow however way the show goes. Sometimes we got to reel them in a little bit, but we do kind of let them open platform, whatever topics they want to talk about. So it's pretty neat. And then what we do with that show too is we take two guests that breeders or growers that kind of gel really together. And we know they would work out well, and we do a roundtable discussion. And the roundtable discussion is Big Earl and I. We might ask a question, give that breeder 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to discuss that question, and then give the next breeder a minute or two to rebuttal whether they feel it's the same, like their thought process or growing process or breeding process, or they do something different or don't agree with what that breeder does. Yeah. And then we go to the next question that breeder that gets the couple minutes to rebuttal. That person goes first, and then that person gets to rebuttal. So it's a great show. It's evolved. We've had some phenomenal guests on that show too. So Big Earl, my friend, thank you so much for 70 episodes. Mrs. Weedman, shoddy producer. She's the one that stuck with me the longest.
Yeah, she's been from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Every episode.
She helped me plan it with Paulie and T and Dobboy, but she has stuck with this show for 5.5 years, 300 episodes. I could not do it without our shoddy, the producer. She's helped me out on sound, production. She did a phenomenal job editing our 5-year anniversary 200 episode, 420 episode that we did, and it was a 2-day shoot, and one at our studio and then one at Made Gallery. If you haven't checked that out, please do. It was phenomenal work that she had done editing and producing that show, and all the videos that came from that was all from her. And so thank you, Shardy, for being with me for 300 episodes for 5.5 years. I know there was a point you wanted to leave, and I wouldn't let you. So I appreciate you more than you know. One day you're going to be hired full-time on me, and we're going to work together and put even more production out there, and I cannot wait for that to happen, because you've been a blessing from Mrs. Weedman and I, because we couldn't do it without you. So thank you, Shoddy. We appreciate you. 300 episodes.
Thank you, Sam.
300 episodes.
I don't know how to say your
Shoddy.
nickname. I just can't. It doesn't work. I can't get it to flow out of my mouth.
Say it.
I just can't.
Just say it.
Shoddy. I'm like way too white.
Shoddy. That's how you're supposed to say it.
My mom never let us use slang, so I talk like a 80-year-old school teacher. My mom was not a school teacher, but
she should have been.
She should have been.
She should have been. She'd been or a librarian, teacher. One or the other, school librarian, or she would have been, because she never talks, so it would have been perfect. So, but thank you everybody out there too for listening, for being a part of this just show that I love to do. I do it every week, not only just for me and Mrs. Weedman, who I especially love doing this show with, because we get to spend 2 hours on a Tuesday night. Aww. And no interruptions, no phones, no nothing. It's just you and I and Yuki just having a conversation, getting baked, having a cocktail every once in a while with the show, or and just looking at your eyes and looking at your face the whole time. I know you hate sappiness.
Like, come on.
I know. I'm going to talk how I feel. This is the show.
So
this is 301
Can you
episodes
see where
now.
the mushy person is and the not so mushy?
A hopeless romantic.
Yeah, you are a hopeless romantic.
I am.
I am very much not. But I'm not cold and harsh.
No. You could punch me in the face every once in a while.
I've never punched you in the face.
You've wanted to, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So
yeah.
that's a good marriage. If your wife hasn't wanted to punch you in the face at least once in the marriage, it's
Yeah.
not a good marriage.
Our recent saying is, I'm going to punch you in the mouth.
I'm going to punch you in the mouth.
Look, I'm able to say that.
You're able to
mouth.
say, well, you dated a hillbilly one time in your life, and you used to go to car races, so you were able to speak a little hillbilly-ish.
Yeah.
You hung out with enough of them.
Self-proclaimed hillbilly. He still is a hillbilly. Some things don't change.
Nope, not at all.
Right.
But I get to do the show with you.
Yes.
And a lot of laughs, a lot of fun, a lot of arguing before the show. Sometimes stuff happens and Mrs. Weedman has calmed me down because she wants to punch me in the mouth, you know. But I will tell you this. I enjoy the hell out of doing the show with you every week. It's a pleasure. It's fun. And I love you. So thanks for sticking with me for 300 episodes.
Thanks for being mushy. Someone has to be.
Oh, shit. What else we got going on? Anything?
I had a topic, but I'm pretty baked, so I forgot it.
Thanks,
but
Dung
I
Drop.
did have something I was going to bring up.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, Thanksgiving? I don't know. Was I going to
coming
talk?
up.
I mean, it's coming up.
It's coming
but
up.
No, that's not
Yeah.
it. That's
No,
not it.
That's not it?
I had something. Sorry.
Sorry.
It's gone. You
yeah.
snooze, you lose with this brain.
I know, right? Especially when you get dung dropped.
Yeah, I am
You might-
dung,
I
I am
bet
dung
you,
dropped.
I bet you might think about it. You
Oh,
might
I'll think about it.
Like
It'll come up like in 3 hours.
yeah, after the show.
And I'll be in the bathroom and then I'll forget it by
You'll
the
have
time
to
I
type
come out
if you
to tell
remember after the show. You'll have to type it in the notes
Yes.
for everybody to read. Going, Mrs. Weedman remembered what the
I
fuck she was going
remembered.
to talk about. We had a crazy week last week, though.
Yeah.
You know what happened, right? Everybody knows the election, right?
Yeah.
Whether you liked the outcome or you didn't like the outcome, just know in the end, it's all about love. It's all about friendship. It's all about kindness. It's all about, hey, the next 4 years there'll be somebody else in. You know, whether you liked it or not. You know, whoever you voted for, won or lost, what's going to happen in the next 4 years is what's going to happen. You still have a platform. You still have rights. You still can write to your senators. You can still write to your state representatives. If you don't like something, you can always make a change, right? But
That's
we
right.
all need to move forward in friendship and love and peace and kindness. And I love you all. We need to smoke a lot of weed the next 4 years because it's going to be crazy. So good luck out there, everybody. Have some fun. Enjoy some life.
Teacher, I remembered.
I knew you would. Tell us, Ms. Weedman.
Your beard looks great,
You did it.
but it looks really good.
I know.
I was a hairstylist for many years.
And your hair, you dyed last night. You got this.
It's too dark.
No, it's not.
Okay,
you
but wait.
You have this purple shimmer that's
You
looking
and your purple
banging.
shimmer thing. You're colorblind. I'm going to tell you it's green.
I saw it in light. It blew away my eyes. It must have been really high.
I think
but
you were
I
really
saw
high.
the purple shimmer.
You keep saying shimmer. I don't know.
Shimmer then? What is it called?
Shimmer.
Right. It was
Shimmer.
purpley shimmery last night. Yeah, my beard does look
Yeah,
good.
but your beard looks good.
You did a good
so
job.
I was a hairstylist for like right out of high school. I went to cosmetology school and then I worked in salons. And then in between having the kids and raising the kids, my scissors were always, I was either working in a salon or working out of my backpack, going to people's houses. It was just the way we did it. And yeah, I did pretty good. I sent Mr. Weedman to the fancy barber shop.
Ugh.
He doesn't have the pleasure of ever getting a haircut. I'm like, just go to the barber shop, get a nice, like hot, lathered up, like barbershop straight shave. They didn't do any of that. They
Nope.
charged him $50. All he has is a beard on his chin, not even
$50.
cheek beard. Like
$50 for a shape.
For a-
for a shape. And
for
I
a
think
shape.
all that person did was just trim that flyaways.
yeah, he didn't even like steam your face. No, nothing.
I was expecting the full treatment, and I
like,
got Ugats.
you're not going
I
back.
got Ugats. Well, you've been my barber,
Right, so I
you've
had
been
to
trimming
pull-
my beard. Oh, geez,
But I
30
didn't for
years.
a long time. But I didn't for a long time. You were just doing it yourself.
Yeah, but you started.
And you didn't have a beard for a
Yeah, I
bit.
had a beard for a couple of years, but then I went back to it. And I'm like, you're the only one that knows how to do it right.
Oh,
You do, because you what do you always say when you do hair?
I don't know.
You always say something about a good haircut. Like it has.
That I can give a good haircut.
Well, that of course. That's
what else?
it's all about like the shaping and making sure it's even.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you always make sure my beard is.
Yep.
You know, we know that it shouldn't go any longer because it gets
Well,
poofy.
it got kind of crazy for a minute.
Oh, it gets like
and your mom
fucking
was
mad.
getting really mad about it.
Oh yeah, she gets really mad. What did she say?
She wouldn't even say
She didn't
hello.
say
She'd be like,
fucking hi.
shave that thing.
She
Shave
didn't-
that thing.
As soon as we got on
She would just make faces
as soon as
like
we got on FaceTime on 2 Sundays ago, first thing she didn't even say hi. Your beard's getting long. Your beard's getting long. Bah! Ma weed, just
Ma
busting
weed.
balls.
We
So
love
I,
you.
like Nash didn't even say hi, son. How are you? How are you, Mr. Weedman?
Shave that thing.
First thing she said, getting too long. What? Hi, how are you? Good to see you, Ma. Happy Sunday morning. Having a cup of coffee is the first thing I got to hear out of my Ma Weed's mouth. She's going to love this because the only part she listens to
Is
of the
this.
host episode is the first like 20 minutes of banter Mr. and Mrs. Weedman have. She could be pissed that I'm busting her chops. She ain't here to defend herself. Ma Weed. We need to get her back on the show
We
one
need to
day.
get her back
Yeah,
on.
next time she comes up again, we'll have her back on the show. She's been taking little edibles here and there, she said.
Mm-hmm.
So she said she still can't smoke. It gets her too fucking paranoid, but that's just
But
'cause
when she takes an edible and it just kind of knocks the edge off,
she likes that
really
20 to
enjoys
1.
That. Yeah.
That CBD ratio,
Yeah.
20 milligrams CBD, 1 milligram of THC. She'd love that.
Yeah.
She was fine on that. So I remember the time we got her 2 stoned on edibles and she thought it was a brain on the floor.
She told that story when she was on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But so many good memories of this show. Thank you, everybody. Ms. We make anything else to say before we get this show started?
Let's get going.
Let's get going, everybody. Healthier, tastier dabs require this. Now, I spoke in the last episode with Midwest Terps that I love hash. Love hash. Love the smell, love the taste, love it, love it, love it. I don't like to do hash out in public unless I'm at somebody's house. So we did a bunch of hash on Saturday. Felt great, slept like a rock. It was amazing. But it's just not my thing. But there is a way to get better, tastier dabs. You know what that requires? Clean your fucking shit.
Well, that goes for all consumption.
Yes, all
If
consumption.
it's anything you're consuming other than edible, clean it. Clean your tools.
Yes. And speaking of, there's a bunch of different hash rosin gummies out in the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them taste good. Some of them taste like
Some of them are
some of them
garbage.
some of them taste like I took a spoonful of just straight rosin and just eating it.
It's terrible.
It's just and it's mushy.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna make a hash rosin gummy out there, you better make it good because you're not doing yourself any justice. It's just like.
They just need to make a bigger candy so they could put more gelatin or something. They, like some of them just
pectin
like
or mix
they
it,
just
whatever.
like melt in your mouth. They're mushy. They're the texture,
or
they're
here-
like so pungent with the
Too much.
from the distillate.
Yeah.
You just get
Yeah.
just a funk taste.
It's not
pleasant.
And right now, a lot of companies are putting more cannabinoids in there too. So you just these small gummies can't hold that much fucking medicine in it.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
why
just-
they're so
it's
liquefied
mushy,
almost. Yeah.
just tastes terrible. You need to do better. Just go back to the 10 milligram straight rosin gummy. You know, don't worry about all the different cannabinoids. Put them back in the distillate ones. But just, hash has enough in it. You don't need to add more.
Yeah. Oh, they're adding.
They're adding
Synthetic
hash rosin.
right.
They're adding not
And then-
synthetic. It's not synthetic. It's probably isolate or it's probably full spectrum.
Wow.
And if it's full spectrum on top of hash rosin,
Then you've got
you're getting
lot
so
more.
much moisture and so it's hard for these things to set. And you need to do better. I'm not going to mention any names because that's not what I do. I'm just telling you from what I've been eating out there lately, you need to do better.
But there's also some great stuff out there.
Oh
too.
yeah, 100%. And I'm not saying they're not
It's just
bad.
it's
They get
these
you
ones
high
that
as
are-
fuck.
yeah.
They get.
Yeah.
I'm baked.
They're effective.
Yeah, very
They're
effective.
just not pleasant to eat.
And that's what a lot of people like. That's what a lot of people don't even care what they taste like. But some people do.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a texture thing, man. When I put that thing in my mouth that is just mush,
Mm-hmm.
makes me want to go to find a different brand.
Right.
It's not. It's just the quality of it too. The hash rosin qualities, but fix your shit. Make sure your gummy sets right. I'm paying for that shit. I gotta eat them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can't return anything, right?
Absolutely not. So unless there was mold, and sometimes gummies get moldy. People don't realize that because you watch people making gummies on social media or in personal at home. Gummies are very hard to make. Mm-hmm. You've tried. Mm-hmm. They get moldy.
Oh yeah.
If they don't set right,
there's
and right away.
yeah.
And like you'll notice within like a month, like a couple weeks.
I would think, yeah.
You know,
and if you're not storing them properly,
right, that too. But if you don't cure those gummies correctly on the drying rack and all that stuff before you sand them, they're gonna get moldy quick. And I've seen it, you know, firsthand. So just, but let's get back onto healthier, tastier dabs. So keep a sesh piece clean is required for healthy lungs and happy guests. Clean pieces lead to an all-around great experience. Getting invited over for a dab is exciting unless the glass-on-glass piece filled with yellowing reclaim greets them upon arrival. Having a dirty rig is not just embarrassing, it's unhealthy. Not to mention, most agree that after an extract piece passes the point of no return, it becomes almost impossible to clean thoroughly. Someone took a picture and sent me a picture of them. I don't remember who or where or what. A week or two ago, and on their table was their bong, and it was just disgusting. Filthy. I'm like, I won't be smoking out of that when I come to your house. Sorry. Learn the slightly nuanced process on how to clean a dab rig and get better hits without residue. There are a few ways to clean a piece of glass used for cannabis concentrates, and that gets more fine-tuned when cleaning like a puff coat too, like an e-rig. There's some tips and tricks that we can teach you on this, and this article is talking about. Concentrate the piece clean, but first, what is that stubborn yellow substance on the inside of the glass? And if you don't clean it for even longer, it becomes brown and browner, and then
you just can't get it off.
Yeah, it's just gross. All about reclaim. We've talked about reclaim before, but this is more for the dab reclaim. So those who smoke flower may be familiar with resin, the black sticky byproduct left in the pipe after smoking the kind herb. Reclaim is to dab rigs what resin is to flower pipes. It presents on a full spectrum from yellow to brown and has staying power inside a glass piece. This substance is concentrated combination of heated extracts that can leave behind a goop in the bottom of the banger or chamber that if not removed might dampen the smoking experience. This pesky byproduct seeps into the actual piece, too. Reclaim could coat the entirety of the inner dab rig without regular cleaning. Interesting. The substance is the concentrated combination of heated extracts. It can leave behind goop in the bottom of the banger chamber if not removed. Some people collect the dab, their reclaim, or make other products from it, like suppositories. While the safety of ingesting reclaim is yet to be discovered, some data shows reasons not to reburn and inhale it. It can burn your lungs. First of all, it generally does not taste good. On top of that, all the terpenes and cannabinoids may have burned off by the time the extract has gone thoroughly dabbed.
I'm just thinking, why would you want to even try to
use
use
back
that?
in the day when you were broke and all you had was your bowl with a little fucking that resin that was built on there, and you're like, damn, I don't got money until
just
fucking tomorrow.
See if you can get
you just scrape it and fucking put it on a nail head and fuck, you know? Yeah, not good. Not good at all.
That sounds awful.
It is awful. Nobody should desire a reclaim-filled rig. Keep the piece clean by regularly swabbing it and following a basic regular cleaning schedule. Cleaning a dab rig. Before launching into a deep cleaning process, it's important to note the best way to have a clean banger or chamber is to wipe it up after every use. Reclaim is the term that refers to goop left in the chamber after a hit. Some might fire it at this hit again, but that practice may lead to dirty, blackened banger. Deep cleaning practice cannot tackle everything, and heavily refried reclaim chambers tend to stay dirty despite the cleaning tricks. Even those keeping their chamber squeaky clean need to thoroughly cleanse the rig on the reg. For them, the ritual is different for analog glass-on-glass dab rigs and electronic ones. How to clean a glass dab rig. Cleaning a dab rig is like cleaning a bong with a little heat. There are a few methods for cleanse centerpiece. The first just needs some water. Hot water method. Those with the regular cleaning routine who don't need to banish aged reclaim could clean a dab rig without rubbing alcohol. Heat water somewhere between a simmer and a rolling boil. Hold the piece over the pot to loosen the reclaim if that feels safe. Certain less intricate glass may be able to go straight into a steamer basket for 15 minutes for a final loosening. Anyone working with a highly artistic heady glass should take extra caution throughout these processes. Yeah, we've seen some
Yeah, I don't think I'd
interesting
wanna do
dag
that.
rigs. No, I'd be very scared.
That's risky.
Very risky, especially some of those ones we've seen that are just amazing. Once the water is heated to a manageable temperature, or boiling water is cooled down, pour it into the rig. Let the piece cool down before handling it if you steamed it. Plug the holes up while the hot water is inside and give it a rigorous shake. Pour the water out and repeat it as needed. Cleaning up problem areas with cotton swabs and alcohol-dipped cleaning brushes. Local beer brewing shops often have various sized brushes. Isopropyl alcohol method. If water did not do the trick, it's time to call in the trusty bottle of 91% isopropyl alcohol. Lower percentages of alcohol could help loosen reclaim, but not work as effective for this task. Like the bond cleaning process, start by running fresh warm water through the piece before adding isopropyl alcohol to the chamber. Plug up all the holes and shake the piece. The option to hold the piece over steam is still applicable with the method that could make a job easier. If the alcohol is not enough solvent to break up the reclaim, empty it out and start again with a little help. Add coarse rock salt, then more alcohol, and shake it up again. Cleaning electronic dab rigs. Ridding glass on glass rigs of reclaim is a little less tedious than working on electronic options like a Puffco or Dr. Dabber. Despite a few more steps, anyone can master it. Separate all glass or silicone-only piece from electronic components before anything is submerged or hit with alcohol. Once that is done, grab a plastic bag and place the glass piece inside. Fill it with the handy-dandy 91% isopropyl alcohol until the piece is submerged. Then add half a cup of coarse salt. Move it around a bit so each chamber fills with the cleaning solution, and seal the bag. Next, shake it up enough that the salt has a chance to rub against the reclaim, urging it to come off into the alcohol. Feel free to soak the piece for a minute before agitating it, loosening up the reclaim. Repeat as needed, and then again with other glass pieces. Smaller tokens like carb caps and mouthpieces can be detailed with a cotton swab. Never forget to clean a dab rig. Though the process is not much different from that of a pipe or a bubbler, many feel confused about cleaning a dab rig. These methods cover the gamut of how to clean a dab rig, from electronic options to heady water pipes. Wipe down a nail banger after every hit, and get the rig cleaned once a week for the best available dabbing experience. Cleaning a cannabis piece is self-care because nobody deserves dirty hits. Be good to yourself and lock down the dab device hygiene. Don't sleep on that regular care. Clean your shit. Right?
That's right.
That's right. The absurd battle raging in the pot industry. Is it hurting consumers?
Yeah. I've got some big topics tonight.
You do.
This
You have
one-
some really good topics
This one
tonight.
is not necessarily controversial, but it's definitely concerning. This is an article about the hemp versus cannabis. And we've talked about before how hemp and cannabis really just need to come together. So, as someone who runs both, this is coming from the author, as someone who runs both a weed and a hemp company, I've seen firsthand how an arbitrary line in the sand can create unnecessary chaos. My name is Jason Raposa, and I spend my days at Goodfields navigating two sets of rules, two supply chains, and two completely different markets, all for the same plant. Let's face it, our industries are stuck in their own civil war over a plant. Yes, a plant. The same plant, actually, just with an arbitrary THC percentage that someone pulled out of thin air. This 0.3% THC distinction, which has somehow become cannabis's Mason-Dixon line, isn't just causing market confusion. It's creating parallel markets for identical molecules, forcing businesses to duplicate infrastructure, and preventing the kind of scale that could make plant-based wellness more accessible to everyone, according to industry analysis. Think about it as this. Imagine if we forced beer and spirits to operate as completely separate industries, with different rules, different stores, and different shipping laws, even though they're both just selling alcohol in different strengths. Oh, wait, that's exactly what we did after Prohibition. And look at us now, making the same mistakes all over again. Let's clear up what we're talking about. Cannabis, the plant itself, that's it. No legal definition, just the plant that's been used for thousands of years. And then we have hemp. Hemp is legally defined as cannabis plants with less than 0.3% THC. These plants are produced cross state lines thanks to the 2018 Farm Bill. Marijuana. So we've got cannabis, hemp, marijuana. Well, what's the difference? Marijuana is the legal term for cannabis plants over 0.3% THC, sold through state licensed dispensaries. Yes, it's an outdated term, but it's still written in laws. So, cannabis and marijuana are the same thing. It's just where the words are used. We talk about cannabis kind of universally. Marijuana is what's being used legally in the legal market, even though it's a very derogatory name. I've never seen it phrased like this, but really that's where you see the word used. When it's anything referenced in the legal market, the stores may call it cannabis. The labeling might call it cannabis because that's what the community
call it.
But the laws and the rules of governing these stores and these dispensaries call it marijuana. So marijuana is over 0.3% THC. Hemp is same plant, but it has less than 0.3% THC. So very confusing.
Do you finally understand it though?
Well, I like that they just spelled it out that way because when you read things, it's very blurry because people use marijuana and cannabis like those words and hemp like they're different things.
Right.
They just don't, it's not framed well, so it gets very blurry and confusing.
Right.
So the industry split doesn't just hurt businesses, it's confusing customers, and there's no faster way to lose trust. Think about shopping for THC products. Same molecule, same effects, but totally different rules and prices, depending on whether it's hemp-derived or marijuana-derived. It's no wonder people are frustrated. The split creates other problems too. It sends mixed messages about safety and quality, it causes confusion over product labels, and it makes reliable information harder to find. The numbers tell an interesting story. The hemp-derived product market continues to grow steadily despite regulatory challenges, while state legal marijuana sales have reached record highs, with states like California alone generating over $4.4 billion in 2023. That's a lot of money for two industries that continue fighting over the same plant. Both industries face unique challenges and advantages. While marijuana companies deal with strict oversight but enjoy high consumer trust, hemp companies have a broader reach but face constant scrutiny. So what is each side really dealing with? Marijuana companies have heavy regulation with high trust because they have to follow strict state rules. They can sell high-dose products, and customers trust the quality. They're only selling locally. Downside is that they get crushed by taxes and dispensaries can't use normal banking. Hemp companies have a broader reach, but they have bigger headaches. They can sell across state lines. It's easier to start a business with hemp. There's more places to sell it, but you're limited to low-dose THC products. There's a high cost of shipping if you're sending it to other people. Most of these hemp companies are selling online. If you needed a case of hemp drinks, for instance, it could cost you up to $60 to ship it.
Jeez.
Yes. So they're constantly fighting battles over synthetic products, and it's more difficult to earn customer trust. Some states have figured out how to make this work, and their success shows what's possible when we stop fighting and start fixing things. Minnesota has a smart approach. They created clear rules that work for everyone. They set quality standards. They check products for safety, they keep products away from kids, and they make rules clear for businesses. The results in a market that works, businesses know what to do, and customers know what they're buying, and everyone is following the same rules. Oregon also has a unified plan. They stopped treating hemp and marijuana as totally different things. What?
Where'd it go?
Did I say Oregon? Oregon. Now I sound like I'm talking about an organ. Can I just call it liver? All right. Oregon. No, it's going to be a problem. Oregon.
There you go.
Has a unified plan. They stopped treating hemp and marijuana as totally different things. Instead, they use the same testing rules for both. They track products the same way. They protect customers the same way, and they let businesses understand one set of rules. As a member of the Hemp Beverage Alliance, I've seen the industry working to set its own standards in the absence of federal oversight. While I don't agree with all proposed limits, their framework offers a solid starting point with clear product standards, requiring consistent serving sizes for THC products. They require appropriate age restrictions, 21 and over for THC products. And with multi-serving packages, they require clearly marked per-serving guidelines, and there are industry standard testing requirements. Also, they require consumer-first labeling. On the front panel, there has to be cannabinoid levels. There needs to be a FDA disclaimer, medical and pregnancy warnings, clear age restrictions, delayed effect warning, like a start low, go slow, and accessible lab reports using QR codes or URLs. And that is smart regulation. Just put the rules in place for everything, right?
Yep.
And continuing on that, they provide state-to-state consistency. If we incorporated these smart regulations with the hemp industry across state lines and cannabis, there'd be clear guidelines for interstate commerce, taxation that would be comparable to alcohol, and protection for consumers and businesses alike. From my unique position straddling both industries, here's what I feel needs to happen. Break down retail barriers. Let marijuana dispensaries sell hemp products, enable both in-store and online sales, and create a unified retail experience. Then they need to standardize safety, implementing strict testing requirements for hemp products, create clear, consistent rules across states, and establish a hemp regulatory body for certification. And they could enable interstate commerce, allowing brands to cross state lines and creating efficient systems for both high-dose and low-dose distribution. And that would effectively level the playing field, aligning hemp company taxes with marijuana industry standards, creating fair competition, and sharing the regulatory burden equally. We can't wait for the politicians to fix this. The hemp and marijuana industries need to start working together now. Look at Minnesota and Oregon. They've shown us what's possible when we focus on what matters, making safe products that consumers can trust. Whether federal legalization comes in 2024 or later, the time to prepare is now. Industry analysts project significant growth for both sectors throughout 2025, with increasing state legalization driving marijuana sales and growing consumer acceptance, boosting hemp product sales too. After all, they're not really two different industries. It's the same plant trying to grow in different directions.
Love it. That was a good article.
That was
a really good article. You got some heavy stuff this week, though. I love it.
It's good.
Put you to the test.
Thanks. No, it's more about not getting too high so we could say the words. That's usually our problem.
That's my problem. Cannabis and the endocannabinoid system, a path to relief for our veterans. It was Veterans Day on Monday, 11/11/2024. Thank you all out there who served our country. We respect the hell out of you. We love you. And you deserve free cannabis for life, if that's what you choose, for your medicine. That's my opinion. As Veterans Day was here on Monday, November 11th, we honored the brave men and women who have served our country. For many veterans, the challenges of transitioning back to civilian life can be difficult, with both physical and mental health hurdles, issues like chronic pain, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, and common struggles that veterans face. Fortunately, cannabis is emerging as a powerful tool, offering relief through its interactions with the body's endocannabinoid system. The ECS plays a critical role in maintaining balance or homeostasis in the body. It regulates various functions such as mood, pain, sensations, and sleep, areas where many veterans experience difficulties. Cannabis works by interacting with the system to help restore balance. Cannabis for PTSD and anxiety in veterans. Many veterans experience PTSD or anxiety as a result of their service. The endocannabinoid system regulates how the brain processes fear, stress, and emotional responses. When the cannabis is introduced into the body, its cannabinoids such as THC, CBD bind with the receptors in the ECS and can promote a sense of calm and may reduce the intensity of PTSD symptoms. By helping veterans regain control over the stress responses, cannabis can allow for more peaceful moments, better sleep, and a sense of emotional relief. pain management, and inflammation relief for veterans. Chronic pain is another challenge many veterans face due to injuries sustained during services. The ECS is deeply involved in regulating pain and inflammation in the body. When cannabis is used, it activates the ECS, which can reduce the body's pain responses and soothe inflammation. This can provide veterans with relief from pain without the heavy reliance on prescription medications, which often come with addictive properties. By naturally stimulating the body's pain-relieving pathways, cannabis can give veterans a safer, more manageable way to express their chronic pain, easing depression and boosting mood for veterans. In addition to PTSD and anxiety, depression is a common mental health issue among veterans. The endocannabinoid system plays a role in regulating mood and emotional well-being. When veterans use cannabis, it can help elevate mood by boosting the body's natural production of certain feel-good chemicals that are involved in ECS. By increasing the activity of these mood-enhancing compounds, cannabis can help veterans feel more connected, positive, and motivated in their everyday lives. Sleep issues are another widespread problem for veterans, particularly with dealing with anxiety or PTSD. The ECS also regulates sleep cycles. By interacting with the ECS, certain strains of cannabis can promote relaxation and better sleep quality. Veterans who use cannabis to manage sleep issues often find that it helps them fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, leading to better rest and improved overall mental and physical health. While cannabis may not be the one-size-fits-all solution, its ability to work with the endocannabinoid system make it a promising option for many veterans. Though its natural regulation of stress, pain, mood, and sleep, cannabis provides a pathway to relief that can significantly improve quality of life. As we celebrated Veterans Day on November 11, 2024, it's essential to consider how we can continue to support our veterans with treatment options that restore balance to both body and mind. By embracing the potential of the endocannabinoid system, we open new doors to health and healing for those who have served.
And a special shout out to our son.
Yes.
He is a veteran, Sergeant. I don't think he wants us to say his name.
No, you want to have Paulie.
We'll just say Sergeant Paulie.
Thanks for serving 5 years in the Marines. Yeah. Appreciate you, Paulie. And all those out there that served. We love you.
Yes.
And if you ever need a nug, reach out to the weed man. We got you. Here's something crazy. Your skin.
Yeah.
Mrs. Weedman, just like your hair is glistening, your face always shines.
It's because I got CBD oil on my face.
You do. You got a
I got
regimen.
like a whole regimen now.
You got me on the regimen now,
yeah.
But I don't do it as many days as you.
I do it every day.
You do it every day. I don't think my face, my skin needs it every day. But
excuse me.
The way your hair is glistening and your face is shimmering, looking banging, Mrs. Weedman. So anyway,
all right, Mr. Weedman.
She hates that, everyone, just so you know. The compliments. It's weird, right?
I'm so weird.
So weird. But here, your skin,
yeah,
right? Always looks good. Mm-hmm. Does smoking weed actually cause acne? Now, before you go into the article and if it does or it doesn't, I know a cannabinoid that we talked about before the show that actually helps with acne.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let you talk about yours first, and we'll mention the cannabinoid.
All right.
Cool?
Cool.
Sweet.
Fair
Tell
enough.
us about it, Ms. Weedman.
So, your skin on drugs. Does smoking weed actually cause acne? Sorry, Mom, but I smoke weed. Now that it's legal where I live, I enjoy indulging in occasional nightly edibles or a vape pen. It helps me sleep. Whatever. I'm an adult. Recently, though, I started wondering if THC could be negatively impacting my skin. Specifically wondering, is weed causing my breakouts? Over the last few months, my skin has been all over the place with blackheads, whiteheads, cystic acne. I'll go through a few months of clarity, then break out with a vengeance for another few months. Then the cycle repeats. But I noticed that my most recent spur of acne coincided with an uptick in my nightly habit. Before I did something rash and quit using THC altogether, I consulted a dermatologist to get to the bottom of things. Research has shown that cannabis may slightly increase testosterone levels, which may be associated with increased acne, says dermatologist Karan Lal, MD. MD. When your testosterone spikes, so does oil production, leading to pimples. But can it actually cause acne? It could, depending on how much you use, how you use it, and if you're genetically predisposed to acne. It's also important to consider how weed impacts your behavior. Think about it. It's 2 a.m., you're stoned, you're watching Planet Earth for the 100th time and placing a greasy Uber Eats order. Are you really washing off your makeup and changing out of your dirty clothes and putting on your whole nightly skin routine to avoid acne? Probably not. Marijuana is commonly associated with what we call a motivational syndrome. It makes people not want to do things. I disagree, says Dr. Lau. It makes you turn off for a little while. Well, that can happen, right? Possibly.
I actually love when that happens.
Right. Possibly leading you to make decisions that aren't in line with your normal skincare-focused self. Likewise, cannabis increases appetite, and if you're eating a lot of carbs, this increases your glycemic index, which has been associated with acne, Dr. Lau adds. Now I wonder, is there any chance weed helps with acne? We know that THC is an anti-inflammatory and can help with pain, and CBD as a skincare ingredient is popular. In theory, it's possible that when we ingest THC, it could possibly have an anti-inflammatory effect across our entire body, which may help calm inflammatory pimples. But it's hard to say without more research. However, THC can help reduce itch and irritation, which could go a long way for chronic skin pickers. I would argue that marijuana may reduce picking in some people because you're more relaxed, Dr. Lau says. Less picking generally means less scabbing and acne scarring as well. For some, cannabis can also be a great way to relieve tension and potentially some stress acne. Stress and anxiety increases a hormone called cortisol that can over time spike inflammation and oil production, leading to more acne. It's why you might have a breakout at the worst time, like before a date, a big vacation, or a wedding. Does how you get high impact your skin? Joints, bongs, pens, edibles, tinctures, what's your go-to? However you get stoned is your prerogative, but keep in mind that some forms of THC might be interacting with your skin differently. Edibles, like gummies, typically contain a lot of sugar, which could spike your blood sugar and increase acne depending upon how your body handles sugars. Smoking, on the other hand, could potentially impact your skin, as the smoke enters the air around you and sits on your skin. Similarly, if you're not cleaning tools properly, smoking out of a bong or pipe could increase acne around your mouth. When it comes to vaping and breakouts, Dr. Lau has noticed a pretty strong correlation. There are all these additives in vapes that we aren't aware of, like oils that not only get inhaled, but also end up in the air around you if you're smoking them, he says. These can go into your skin and damage your skin cells and cause inflammation. Don't vape. The bottom line, at this time, there really isn't enough data yet to definitively say whether weed causes acne, and Dr. Lau says that among his patients, he doesn't see a difference in acne between those who use cannabis and those that don't. That said, it's likely that with more states legalizing and decriminalizing weed, more studies on the relationship between skin and THC might be done in the future that can give us a clearer answer. In the meantime, make decisions for your own health and well-being, says Dr. Lau. Thanks, Dr. Lau.
Thanks.
Thanks.
You take a lot of CBD.
Yeah, I do.
Do you keep an eye on your level of what you take?
No. I mean, yes, I should say I do. I might take a couple really low dose THC CBD edibles during the day. I might do a half dropper of tincture. So I would say I'm probably around between 50 and 100 milligrams a day.
Does it help with your pain?
I can't tell. It never makes my pain go completely away, and I don't know if that is possible. But I would say like there's days where I don't feel as much pain. And I don't, the inflammation, I'm kind of unsure of how that feels, other than like when I have, like my hands feel super stiff, my ankles, my knees feel real stiff, my joints feel
my cankles
rigid.
Sometimes get stiff too.
Yeah, I think that's more, that feels like your cankle. You don't have cankles. I think that's more inflammation related.
Right.
But the pain, it just makes you feel more relaxed, and it helps you not think about it.
That's good.
That's how I feel.
So there's a level that they say, and I know you've been using it for a while.
I could probably use more.
Yeah.
To really get rid of the pain, I have concluded I would have to use a lot of THC, and I don't feel like I could function and do my job effectively.
Right.
I'm not comfortable using the amount of THC I would need to make my body feel better
Right.
during the day.
During the day.
At night, it's like,
as soon as
do what you do.
As soon as you're, yeah, as soon as like
when
6,
I'm done
7
working,
o'clock
it's like,
come.
gimme. Yeah.
You smoke more than me now.
I do.
Because I don't start. I'll start smoking around 7 o'clock, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I still got to work out. I still got to take her for a nice long walk.
I will smoke and then go work out.
Yeah,
I
you
like
can.
it.
I don't.
I like it.
Not
I know
me.
you don't. I like
Yeah.
smoking before I eat.
Yeah.
You don't?
I don't. I like smoking after I eat. But I've been smoking before we eat lately.
Yeah.
Probably about an hour before we eat now. I could do that, but if it's like right smoke and go eat, nah, not me. But there's a level for some people that might need more, but they're saying that there's a minimum level where you should start out, like, or you should like get to. Body aches, muscle stiffness, headaches, and joint pain are something that most modern humans suffer from in some phases of their lives. When we are young, recovery is relatively faster due to the immunity and body strength. But as you get older, it gets more and more difficult to get rid of the different kinds of body aches, and even small injuries turn into severe, painful nights. To deal with recurring acute pain, most people rely on chemically ridden painkillers, which often cause kidney issues and neurological damage in the long term. Opioid pain medications are the worst. Most people end up getting addicted to them, and withdrawal is just a nightmare. But there's a new alternative on the block called CBD. CBD is 100% natural, does not cause addiction, has no side effects, and has a strong pain and inflammation reducing properties. Plenty of people now find CBD gummies best for pain, anxiety, and stress management. But how much do you need to consume every day for pain relief? Let's find out, shall we? Shall we find out? Mm-hmm. How much CBD is required for general pain management? There is no exact guideline for medical body on how much CBD you should consume every day for pain and inflammation relief. The actual amount will vary from person to person depending on the pain levels, cause of pain, tolerance, body weight, and other such biological sublingual. It absorbs much faster by mixing. Oops, sorry about that. Skipped a line. Don't worry, though. Don't worry, though. Sorry, I just want to see if you all were listening and see if Ms. Weedman was paying attention.
Yeah.
After through research involving medical studies, human trials, and anecdotal reports, we can give you the general estimate. When you take CBD sublingually, it absorbs much faster by mixing in the bloodstream through blood capillaries. So you'll feel your discomfort level going down within 15 to 30 minutes of consuming CBD oil. Whereas gummies will take around 40 minutes to 2 hours before kicking in because of the longer digestion and metabolism time. For a good and long-lasting pain relief, you can take anywhere between 40 to 60 milligrams of CBD every day. However, it's best to start low. Like we always say, start low and go slow with anything. 10 to 15 milligrams and gradually increase over time till you get the desired results. Increasing the dosage immediately can cause nausea, dehydration, and fatigue. Your body needs time to adjust to the compound. There's no hard and fast rule, though, so try different variations, administration methods, and timings to figure out what's best for you. Factors that affect CBD levels for pain relief: how much you weigh, your medication history, your weight, your tolerance levels, your underlying cause of pain, your lifestyle have a direct impact on your body's CBD requirement. If you have an ongoing medication, it's best to first consult with a medical professional before adding CBD to your wellness routine. Your weight plays a major role. Heavy people have slow metabolisms, so they usually need higher levels of CBD for similar effects as compared to lighter people. But then, again, even two people with the same weight might not feel the same effects with similar dosage amounts. It truly is a different form, person to person. That's why it's always suggested to start with a small amount initially instead of chasing the perfect number. Generally, CBD is well tolerated in human use, even at the very high dose. In clinical trials, under supervised conditions, test subjects did not face any health issues, even after consuming doses of high 1,500 milligram every day. That does not mean that you should gulp down a full gummy of oil bottle in one go. Always stick to the guidelines printed on the label. Taking too much CBD in one go can cause dehydration, fatigue, runny stomach. Ooh, runny stomach, not just shit, not just
Runny
shits.
stomach.
Can we just say the shits? Never heard of runny stomach before. What the fuck is a runny stomach? The shits. I got the shits. And disruption in appetite levels. FDA. Hey, Miss Weedman, you got that runny stomach over there? The FDA warns that taking way too much CBD can cause liver issues and impact the effectiveness of other medications. So in essence, yes, you can take too much CBD. It can also give you a psychoactive effect too. We've talked about this on prior episodes a long time ago. Taking too much CBD can also act like THC, psychoactive effects too, or euphoric if you take too much, if your body's not used to it. Adjust to cannabinoids over a long period of time. For better absorption of cannabinoids, you can take your gummies or oil with fatty foods and increase your water intake to avoid nausea and dizziness. How to increase the effectiveness of CBD for pain relief. CBD is not the magic pill, so there's no guarantee that it'll show effects overnight. Sometimes you might have to wait for weeks or even months to experience its healing effects to its fullest. To make it work better, you could start to indulge in mindful activities and physical therapies. Regular stretching, exercise, massage with CBD oil on the affected area, and quality food can increase your recovery speed. It might work faster at night because your body goes into rest and repair mode at that time. The quality of oil based on the ingredients used in the extraction process can also make a huge difference. I'm going to tell you everybody right now, gas station CBD does not work. It's complete and utter dog dookie, or let's just call it runny stomach. It's complete and it's runny stomach.
It's just shit. It's complete crap.
Yeah, and you're going to get the shits. You're going to get the runny stomach.
It's not going to do anything good for you.
No, not at all. So stop buying the gas station CBD. For better absorption of cannabinoids, you can take your gummies with fatty foods like we talked about. So how to increase the effectiveness of pain relief. CBD is not a magic pill. There's no guarantee that will show effects overnight. Like we talked about, the quality of the oil. Extraction process can also make a huge difference, like we said. So make sure you buy from quality products. Look up the COAs, right? To sum it up, 40 to 60 milligrams of CBD per day can be a good starting point for pain relief. There is no one best level. It will vary from person to person. You'll have to rely on trial and error methods till you find the perfect dosage for your pain requirements. It's best to start with a low dose, 5 to 15 milligrams, and eventually increase over time. Just make sure to buy your CBD stack only from reputable and tested brands. COAs, right, Ms. Weedman?
Yes.
Yes. Certification
Certificate of authenticity.
Analysis. There you go. Good job. You learned.
Hey.
There you go. I had to practice this word a lot because I knew I was going to get baked. And endometriosis.
Hey, you got it. It's pretty phonetic. I mean,
right?
Come on, right?
I did the syllable thing too.
Break it down.
Endometriosis.
Yeah, not really, but
no.
Yes.
It's a hard one to do. It should be like 6 syllables.
Metriosis.
I still got to clap when I do it. I can't just count.
That's right. I still use my fingers when I count.
So, is weed the best thing for it? Is it
Yes.
Works?
It's the best thing.
Tell us about them.
Yeah. This article says that weed is the best thing that's happened to endometriosis patients in the last 50 years. Endometriosis is one of the most painful conditions affecting women worldwide. When endometriosis occurs, the endometrial tissue, which normally grows inside the uterus, grows outside of it. As a result, it can attach itself to other reproductive organs in the area. In extreme cases, endometriosis can reach far beyond the reproductive area and cause serious pain and damage. The symptoms of endometriosis include sharp menstrual pain, fatigue, pain during sex, infertility, heavy periods, and much more. According to the World Health Organization, around 10% of women who are in reproductive age have endometriosis. Unfortunately, there is no cure. Though several protocols can be integrated into a patient's lifestyle to mitigate or reduce symptoms. Some common medications used for reducing the symptoms of endometriosis include birth control pills, hormone injections, patches, and IUDs, to name a few. However, these therapies may affect a woman's chances of getting pregnant or increase the risk of infertility, since endometriosis can also affect fertility. Thankfully, more women are finding success with lifestyle changes and integrating natural treatments. Along with regular exercise, weight loss among overweight women, and healthy habits, cannabis has been shown to be helpful in treating this dreaded disease. There are more studies than ever proving the efficacy and benefits of cannabis for women suffering from endometriosis. In a recent study out of Germany, researchers analyzed survey data from more than 900 endometriosis patients to determine how, if any, their symptoms are impacted by cannabis. A significant percentage of the 900 respondents acknowledged using cannabis, and most of them said it was beneficial in helping their symptoms. 17% of the respondents used cannabis flower or cannabis-related products as a self-management method, said the researchers. Cannabis was rated as the most effective self-management strategy to reduce symptom intensity, with self-rated efficacy in 7.6 out of 10 patients. That's pretty big. Additionally, 90% of the participants were able to decrease pain medication intake, explained the researchers. They also noted participants observed the most significant benefits from cannabis for sleep, menstrual pain, and with non-cyclic pain, in that order. Because of this, it's become clear that cannabis can greatly improve quality of life in these areas, which are otherwise affected by symptoms of endometriosis. The use of cannabis has a significant impact on the overall well-being and quality of life for women with endometriosis, they concluded. The study indicates that there is significant interest and demand for additional therapeutic options, and cannabis can potentially become an important part of a multimodal therapy approach for treating endometriosis, said the study. Another study from Australia, whose results were published earlier this year, found similar results. The data that was published in that journal, Obstetrics and Gynecology, resulted from 192 women who were polled by Australian researchers regarding their history of marijuana consumption and endometriosis symptoms. According to their findings, 63% of the poll respondents were given doctor's authorization for using cannabis-based medication. In Australia, physicians are legally allowed to recommend cannabis use for patients. In the study, most women were using THC-dominant products, and they reported improvements when it came to sleep, pain, nausea, and anxiety. This study found that THC-dominant products are commonly prescribed to Australians with endometriosis. Given major issues with symptom management and the self-reported reductions in pain and other symptoms, improving access to medical cannabis for this population is important and timely, they said. These studies and tons of anecdotal evidence available on the internet demonstrate that cannabis is safe and effective for treating endometriosis symptoms. After all, cannabis interacts with the endocannabinoid system, which plays an important role in helping us regulate pain, inflammation, and our immune response, all of which are impacted by endometriosis. When treating endometriosis, remember that there is no miracle cure. Cannabis certainly helps, but it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Please remember to consult with a medical professional and keep in mind that you'll have the best results if you also address other lifestyle factors. Maintaining a healthy weight, avoiding processed and sugary foods, and regular exercise are all key to mitigating the symptoms of endometriosis. Add cannabis to the mix, and you can look forward to regaining a better quality of life.
Better quality of life.
That's important.
Yeah, very important. Yay, cannabis. Political, state, business news. There's a lot of news going on right now. So much news. Oh,
There's so much happening in the world.
Oh my gosh, so much news. Cannabis news. It's so great to be a podcaster right now because there's so much good news and bad news and crazy news and this news and that news and which way did he go news. So much news. I mean, like I got 4 pages of notes.
Get to it.
It's crazy.
I'll just be over here.
Getting high.
Getting normal.
Getting normal. Marijuana social equity transporters in Illinois file civil rights complaint, 7 social equity cannabis transporters in Illinois filed a civil rights complaint against the state's Department of Agriculture. They argued the department unfairly issued transporter licenses to establish medical marijuana businesses, which control most of the adult use market, leaving smaller independent operators without contracts. The transporters collectively spent over $800,000 on fees, but struggled to remain viable. Despite legislative efforts, including a fee waiver and a moratorium on new transporter licenses, many operators claim they've lost everything, highlighting flaws in Illinois cannabis equity efforts. I don't think it's just equity. I think it's all of it. Unless you're a major corporation. That's really about it. Illinois hemp businesses owners urge lawmakers to reject proposed agricultural rule threatening to refuel war on drugs, diminish social equity. Hemp businesses advocating for responsible industry-wide regulations urge members of the Joint Committee of Administrative Rules to reject the Illinois Department of Agriculture proposed rule regulating hemp. The proposed rules regulatory outreach would refuel the war on drugs by expanding law enforcement authority for stops, searches, and drug arrests related to purchases and transport of federally lawful hemp products, undermine Illinois' social equity goals while giving big multi-state marijuana companies complete control of the hemp and cannabis markets, presume all hemp products that have not been tested, even hemp that has yet to be harvested, to be illegal cannabis which can be seized by the state at any time, authorize the state to conduct unlimited inspections of local businesses, saddling shop owners with new testing and sampling, charges up to $1,500 per product. Oof. The proposed rules are scheduled to be discussed by the Joint Committee actually today, November 12th, Tuesday. Should the proposed rule be approved by the IHBA, stands ready to pursue all legal avenues to appeal the rule's adoption. The proposed hemp rules in Illinois look like a clear-cut case of regulatory overreach and a blanket disregard for the rule of law. The Illinois Department of Agriculture seems to be the General Assembly legislative authority in disregarding relevant federal law, said David Sergey, a prominent hemp and cannabis attorney who has successfully challenged heavy-handed hemp regulations in other states. Upon my initial review of the draft rules, I see several fatal legal and procedural flaws that would not withstand an anticipated legal challenge in the courts. So why doesn't Pritzker go like this? You got to come through me for my people. That's what he said on national TV last week. You got to come through me if you want to get to my people. Why don't you protect your hemp business? Yeah. You say it's the best fucking thing in the world. You created the best social equity, and yeah, whatever. You're not worth my time. The cannabis industry is set to grow. So is its environment's impact. The U.S. cannabis industry, currently valued at $32 billion, is expected to grow more as more states legalize recreational use. However, this expansion comes with significant environmental concerns, including high carbon emissions, water usage, and plastic waste. All three of those are 100% correct. And what have I said on this show so many times? We were supposed to be better. We're supposed to do better, right? Mm-hmm. Where did I leave off? Indoor cannabis cultivation can produce 1,500 to 4,000 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of product, much higher than other crops. While outdoor growing is less carbon intensive, it faces challenges due to federal restrictions on interstate trade. Efforts are underway to make production more sustainable, but government action is needed. We're supposed to be better than that, right? Not when you're just worried about profits and margins, right?
Right.
All right. There was good news and there was bad news. Last Tuesday, November 5th, for the election of cannabis, right? I got excited about some things, and boy, oh boy, was I disappointed about a lot of things. And I mentioned a little bit on the last Tuesday show because I already had found out about Florida, but I'm going to talk about them last because there was some exciting stuff. Massachusetts, though, voters rejected medicinal psychedelic measures. Stated option. Massachusetts voters rejected the state's medicinal psychedelics legalization ballot initiative with 57% opposed and 43% in favor. The proposal sought to legalize the medical use of psilocybin, psilocin, DMT, ibogaine, and mescaline for patients 21 plus. See, if you added too many things on there, you were doomed to fail. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Most governments don't even know what DMT is. Yeah. Most local officials don't. I like DMT, but they might not. You know, you should have just started off with psilocybin mushrooms and got that through, and then let that prove itself. Just like Cannabis proved itself in
Right.
Massachusetts.
One thing at a time.
Right. You're talking about LSD. You're talking about mescaline. I like a little.
That's just so progressive.
It's too
right?
much.
Right.
To start off with. I mean, it's all good. A lot of it is now
Yes.
being proven to help PTSD and depression and a lot of stuff. But
you're losing out on things that they might pass to try to get everything passed at once.
right. Don't fucking put it up the pipe, you know, and smoke it because you're gonna lose. You did too much. Here's something sad. For the third time, South Dakota rejects recreational marijuana. 3 times you struck out. South Dakota voters have rejected recreational marijuana legalization for the third time in November of 2024 election. The ballot measure initiated Measure 29, proposed legalization, cannabis use, and possession for adults 21 and older, allowing home cultivation, which sucks because now you can't home grow, and establishing a regulated market. Despite arguments about tax revenue and jobs, concerns over public health, safety, and economic costs led to its defeat. This follows previous failed attempts in 2020 and 2022, highlighting the state's persistent divide on cannabis legalization. North Dakota, for the third time, again, decided against legal cannabis. North Dakota voters have once again rejected a measure to legalize recreational cannabis, making it the third failure following similar defeats in 18 and 22. Measure 5, which proposed legalization of personal cannabis use for 21 and older, along with home cultivation, now you can't home grow, and regulated market, was narrowly defeated with 53% voting against it. Supporters argued it would allow law enforcement to focus on more pressing issues, while opponents raised concern about potential negative societal effects. Really? You think we're all going to be stupid? Come on now, North Dakota. Legal cannabis remains out of the reach in the state for now. Both of you states need to fight with your general election for at least home grow. That should be offered to all medical patients. If you're not going to put it recreational wise and let people get quality cannabis from their own grow, just like they get to grow their own tomatoes, just like they get to grow their own lettuce or their own apples, whatever, fruits and vegetables, why can they not have permission to grow cannabis, 3 or 5 plants for themselves and their family? Makes a big difference. Since you ain't getting it recreational wise, at least allow home grow in your state. Put that on a different ballot. Let people. I bet you that would pass anywhere. That people can home grow, even if you gave them 5 plants, just like here in Illinois. I don't know. Kentucky voters, though, even though January 1st, 2025, Kentucky's going medical. It's starting. Okay, dispensaries already got. Not dispensaries. Cultivation got theirs. Dispensary license is going to be next. But here's something really cool. Kentucky voters overwhelmingly approve of allowing medical cannabis businesses. Each of the 106 counties and cities in Kentucky, with ballot referendum, approved allowing medical cannabis businesses to operate in their jurisdiction.
That's wild. Every county.
106 counties.
That's crazy.
Voters in 53 counties and 53 cities in Kentucky voted last Tuesday on a ballot referendum asking if cannabis businesses should be allowed to operate there. And every last one of the jurisdictions voted yes.
I wonder if that's the only state where that's
so
happened.
Proud of you,
That's
Kentucky.
cool.
So proud of you. Because not even in Illinois, not every county allows it. And we've been recreational now
cool.
for almost 5 years. Good for you, Kentucky. Proud of you. Can't wait to come back down to Louisville and see my friends and get baked. This is great news. Great news. Nebraska voters overwhelmingly approved medical marijuana.
Woohoo!
Nebraska saw a significant shift in policy with the passage of 2 medical cannabis measures. Initiative 437, which enacts the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Protection Act, allows patients to use cannabis to manage health conditions. Initiative 438, the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Regulation Act, establishes a commission to regulate the medical cannabis market. Following the adoption of the commission's regulations, the market may open up as early as summer 2026, explained Paula Shavigenko, founding partner of Canaccord Group. This long-awaited result, driven by activist efforts and significant public support, signals a new era for medical cannabis in the state. Screw you, governor. Screw you, governor. Screw you, governor. The one who didn't want it. The one who said, so happy. Your constituents said yes. One more time. Stick it to you, Governor. My evil laugh gets better and better as every state approves. Here's something cool. Dallas, Texas. And Willie Nelson was fighting for this. In a landmark decision, Dallas voters approved the Dallas Freedom Act to decriminalize small amounts of cannabis, setting the stage to reform in Texas.
Whoa. Did you ever think that would happen?
It happened in
this
Austin.
soon. I didn't think-
It happened in
yeah.
Austin.
Yeah.
I mean, so the act, which passed with 65% support, better than you, Florida,
Yeah.
prohibits arrest for possession of up to 4 ounces of cannabis.
Wow.
So I can carry four zips.
Sweet.
Hell yeah, not get arrested. And restricts the police from using cannabis odor as a probable cause.
Wow.
Local advocacy groups, Ground Game Texas, celebrated the victory, stating, "This is more than a victory for marijuana decriminalization. It's a win for the people of Dallas." The success in Dallas reflects a growing trend in Texas cities and pursue cannabis reform, even as state-level opposition continues. Yo, Texas. Is it Abbott? Governor Abbott? Is that his name? I can't remember. I think
no
that's his
idea.
name in Texas. Yo, dude, you need to let Texas vote for medical, at least full medical, because they're going to vote for it. Between Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, and Austin, and there's another one, Fort Worth, and all your suburbs around these major cities, there's a lot of weed smokers. And I don't care what you think. I know. Because go to Oklahoma right over the border, and those border stores are crushing it. Mm-hmm. So get your shit together, Abbott, and fucking let's go. Let your voters vote for it. They're proving you wrong. You can't even arrest anybody in Austin or now in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Yeehaw! We're going to Texas. 4 ounces, 4 zips at a time. Let's go.
It's the whole state?
No,
Just
just Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas voted for it. Infused beverages. Oh, did I forget something? No, I didn't forget. I don't think I did. No, did I? Let me see.
I don't know.
I think I did. All right, I got so excited. I skipped the page. I was so excited about Dallas, Texas. More news, political news. Colorado Spring voters appear to approve competing marijuana measures, deciding fate on recreational sales. Can you believe that Colorado Springs has not been recreational all this time? Been medical,
What?
but not recreational, yeah. Colorado Springs voters approved 2 conflicting marijuana measures in the 2024 election. Ballot issued 2D, backed by 51%, bans recreational cannabis sales, while ballot question 300, passed with 53%, allows medical dispensaries to apply for recreational licenses. The legal conflict between these measures, along with the restrictive zoning ordinances passed earlier, raises uncertainty about the future of cannabis sales in the city. Legal and city level decisions will likely determine the final outcome. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like Colorado Springs isn't legal. Garden of
very
the Gods,
weird.
you can't fucking be a god and smoke some weed in Colorado Springs. Crazy. All right. Florida.
So disappointing.
All my friends and family. I lived in Florida for 13 years. Grew up on the East Coast. And I know my family and friends were pissed off that they didn't even come close. Like 56.3%. At the time when I talked last Tuesday, it was like 57.3. It went down.
It went down, yeah.
What happened? $140 million just on one company spent to try to pass this through.
Wasn't there a big the cannabis dispensaries put some big money
That's
out,
what I just said.
but like last minute ads.
Oh, that was not. There was ads going on both sides, but
both.
the ads that were coming from the opposition
Right.
were absolutely fucking horrendous. What they were, the lies that they told
That's
on
what I'm
these
talking
ads.
about,
Oh
yeah.
my god, yeah, it was brutal. So, Florida, I feel for you. This is the third time, and you missed it on Amendment 3. I mean, I think DeSantis is an idiot for this because he doesn't understand that now that you're in bed with the hemp companies, we just explained it's both the same thing, But now the hemp company is going to have full effect and full power over everything again, and there's going to be no you didn't help even regulate. There's no regulation
right
on the hemp companies.
Right.
So you're poisoning your own constituents on product that's not has COAs. Say about 20% of them maybe do, the rest don't, and they're running rampant. You have no control now. Because they own you.
And you have all these poor retirees who probably are taking 1 or 2 medications, and then they're picking up synthetic cannabis at gas stations and their grocery store, thinking that they're getting good product. That's happening all over in Florida.
So here's the thing again: no home grow.
Right.
There wasn't even home grow
Nothing.
on it anyway. But at least you need to fight for home grow. What is wrong with you? All you states that don't have home grow already, and you have medical cannabis, and you don't let your medical patients able to home grow, shame. And it's just so, despite historic funding, majority voter support, and Trump's endorsement, Florida Amendment 3 to legalize recreational marijuana fell short of the 60% needed to pass, which I think is bullshit too. It should be 51%, but of course you got to throw that extra 10% in there. So
just to make it harder.
Yes. Concerns over corporate control, lack of home cultivation. Now, this part I agree with. The concerns of corporate control, because all of the dispensaries in Florida are all big MSO, vertically integrated companies. Excuse me. And it's wrong. You can't even get in the game down there. Mm-hmm. And I do agree, if it went over to recreational, there'd be no mom and pops.
No.
So in a way, I think the laws need to be rewritten a little bit in favor of having more competition and not just being one big conglomerate of just a certain handful of companies.
That's called a monopoly. They're going to start off with a monopoly.
Right off the bat. Trulieve heavily funded this with $140 million. Governor DeSantis contributed to the defeat of this because he had hemp companies on his side, plus all the propaganda that he put on TV and commercials and all the stuff he spewed out of his mouth. Just spewing, spew, and that runny stomach, he's got that runny stomach, just totally fucked this all up. Critics argued that the measures would favor large companies, like we talked about. Opponents also leveraged identity politics, framing legalization as a shift toward a California-like culture, which resonated with many Florida voters. I don't get it. You're surrounded by water too. Actually, more water than California is. You have salt life as your main thing, right? Mm-hmm. Salt life, and whatever California does, usually Florida does a few years later in some way, somehow. Maybe that's not so much true anymore, but it was 20 years ago. They used to say whatever California did, Florida 10 years later followed.
Yeah, like 10 or 15. Yeah. They weren't. Florida's not that trendy.
No, not at all. So, but I'm disappointed in that one the most. I mean, I'm disappointed everyone did, but the one thing you need to fight for then, if you're not going to get in the Dakotas and in Florida and in any other state doesn't have home grow, you need to fight for home grow. Mm-hmm. Like, that should just be a separate ballot by itself, and I have a feeling most of your states would win that.
Yeah.
Because it's non-threatening.
Right.
And if you don't think people are growing in the traditional market in your state, I got a polar ice cap to sell you. It's the best view you'll ever have to see. It's far north, and I will sell you that really, really good money. So I will tell you this. Right now, if you don't think that there's traditional market grow or growing in your state, you need to legalize home grow. Like today. Like, don't wait. Because I tell you what, you're foolish to not let people handle their own shit. So, feds award more than $500,000 to analyze hemp-derived products that are growing in popularity. The U.S. federal government has awarded $500,000 for research into the hemp-derived products. 2 grants, one to the National Institute of Standards of Technology and another to Sam Houston State University. Cool. Aim to study chemical composition of hemp-derived vape products and develop methods to differentiate hemp from marijuana. This research addresses the growing market of hemp products, particularly those containing cannabinoids like delta-8 THC. Following the 28 Farm Bill, the goal is to aid policymakers, regulators, and law enforcement in understanding the regulations these products. Nonviolent pot offender granted clemency by Governor Kelly didn't deserve 8-year sentence. Dusham Durham, a nonviolent cannabis offender in Kansas, will be released from prison after Governor Laura Kelly granted him clemency. Durham, sentenced to nearly 8 years for possessing 2.4 pounds of marijuana, had been in prison since 2022. His mother, Brandy Wishart, was emotional about the news. Durham's sentence had exceeded Kansas guidelines for the first time. Nonviolent offense advocacy efforts helped secure his early release with support from organizations like Last Prisoner Project. Durham is expected to be home by December 6th, right before Christmas. Indigenous opportunities in cannabis. This article is about exploring growing opportunities for Native American tribes to engage in the cannabis industry. By leveraging their sovereign status, tribes can establish businesses that generate revenue, create jobs, and enhance community infrastructure. Challenges remain such a stigma and complex legal navigation, but tribes like the Eastern Band of Cherokee and White Earth Band of Native Americans, I can't pronounce this. I'm just going to spell it Ojibwe. I don't want to disrespect it. Are leading examples of success cannabis operations. The industry offers economic benefits, including job creation, infrastructure development, and improved health care for tribal members. Hoorah. Researchers asked federal court to halt DEA marijuana rescheduling hearings over allegations of illegal proceedings and agency bias. A researcher, David Heldrath, has filed a lawsuit to halt DEA's marijuana rescheduling hearings, alleging illegal procedures and bias. He claims DEA violated regulations, including not consulting tribal entities and small organizations as required. Heldrath also argues that his exclusion from the hearings was retaliatory due to his challenges against the DEA's psychedelic policies. The lawsuit seeks to prevent further hearings until the legal issues are addressed. Infused beverages led the marijuana product sales spike on Election Day. Marijuana product sales jumped nearly 6% on Election Day compared to the previous 3 Tuesdays, according to Seattle-based cannabis industry analytics provider Headset. Nearly every product category experienced an increase in sales in the 15 regulated U.S. marijuana markets tracked by Headset. THC-infused beverages were the product of choice for many cannabis consumers on Election Day. Sales in the category jumped 14.2% on Tuesday, the biggest increase in any segment. Here's a look at some other gains across the categories on November 5th. Concentrates was 8.1%. People wanted to be real high, especially if you didn't like the outcome. Pre-rolls were 6.5%. Vape pens were 5.5%. And flour was 4.1%. Wow. Yeah, people wanted to get real high. New limits, oversight for Pennsylvania's medical marijuana doctors proposed. Pennsylvania lawmakers are proposing new limits and oversight for medical marijuana doctors following concerns raised by the Spotlight PA investigation. The bill introduced by Rep. Tim would allow the Department of Health and impose prohibition, certification limits, and supervision of doctors who certify patients for medical marijuana. This follows revelations that some doctors, including those with past misconduct, were certifying large numbers of patients, potentially compromising program integrity. Critics worry that these new restrictions might limit patients' access, while others argue for broader reforms such as reinvesting the state's qualifying conditions. Ohio. The rec market right now has hit 143 milli since launch. Pretty good, Ohio. Mm-hmm. Not bad. And I don't even think they have all their dispensaries, how many they want to open up yet either.
Well, it's been how long?
When did they go? June?
Wow.
Since the summer. Maine regulators increase audits of recreational cannabis after third recall in 2 months. Man. A huge step to help Jersey patients pay for medical weed is coming soon. No other state has done this. New Jersey Medical Cannabis Program proposed a regulation that would help medical marijuana much more accessible to patients. This change would be the first of its kind in the nation, offering new measures such as expanding the medical marijuana registry and improving patients' access to treatments. The legislation also aims to remove some of the barriers in the current system, which has long faced criticism for inefficiency and high cost. If passed, the policy could set a national precedent for patient care in the medical cannabis sector.
That's good.
Yes. Jersey officials will begin enforcing ban on hemp products, though, in sales. New Jersey officials are now enforcing a ban on the sale of hemp products, following a law that took effect in October. This regulation aims to curb access to intoxicating hemp products, such as those containing synthetic cannabinoids like Delta 10 and THCO. which have raised safety concerns. Businesses selling products without a license face fines. While some parts of the law were challenged in court, it remains the effect of further legalization and is expected to address potential constitutional issues. Idaho campaign files final version of the marijuana legalization measure for 2026 ballot. Wow. I didn't think this was going to happen for like 2030. I didn't think this state was even going to come close. But I'm proud of you. Idaho's campaign group, Idaho, has filed the final version of its marijuana legalization proposal for 2026 ballot. The initiative would allow adults 21 plus to possess and to cultivate cannabis for personal use, home grow. With limits on plant counts and possession, it excludes commercial sales, aiming to decriminalize cannabis without corporate involvement.
Wow.
Way to go, Idaho. Way to go, Idaho.
Wow.
The group hopes to gather 70,000 signatures by April 2026, reflecting, hopefully you do it on 4/20/2026, reflecting a desire to reduce penalties rather than fully commercialize cannabis. I love it.
Oh.
Fully decriminalize it and let people grow 5 to 10 plants. Let community grows happen.
Open.
Yeah. Let little farms happen so people can come and learn and pick. Idaho, if you get this passed, Mr. Weedman might come and take a long rest vacation there for a hot minute.
They're supposed to have beautiful lakes.
Oh, it's beautiful in Idaho. I've been there once. And it was gorgeous. Will GOP Governor-elect Jennifer Gonzalez fuel Puerto Rico's cannabis industry potential? Jennifer Gonzalez's gubernatorial election win on Puerto Rico's cannabis industry, while Puerto Rico has made strides with medical cannabis, particularly with the market that is expected to reach $179 million by 2024. Gonzalez's stance remains a key point of focus. She has voiced support for advancing cannabis policies and believes the industry is potentially for growth. Her governance might provide more regulatory clarity and opportunities, especially in the wake of challenges posed by past natural disasters. Puerto Rico, just free the plant. Be great. So, all right, everybody.
Yep.
This one's a good one. And this is written by probably one of my favorite journalists, Reginald Reefer.
Yeah, he's been writing some heavy articles. He's a good writer.
He's a very good writer. This is called, you're all probably wondering now that Trump, he got voted in, okay, whether you like him or not. Trump 2.0 cannabis reform. What to expect when Republicans control Washington? This is a lot of people, a lot of buzz right now in the cannabis community and industry. What's going to happen now? Because Joe Biden didn't fucking come through on his promise. Right.
So this is a nonpartisan. This isn't really saying that this author is in support of or against Trump. That's not what this is about. This is just Trump's stance on cannabis and effectively how the stature of being a Republican-heavy government right now, we can get some things through. Right. So try to stay with me on this, even if you are really against hearing his name and about him. Just if you care about cannabis, this is a really good perspective and very positive news about what could happen in the coming years. Okay, so what can we expect? All right. In a turn of events that will reshape America's cannabis policy landscape, Donald Trump has secured a second term as president, with Republicans gaining control of both chambers of Congress. This new political reality presents an unexpected opportunity for cannabis reform, albeit through a different lens than many advocates might have expected. Trump's evolution on cannabis policy has been remarkable. From his 1990s stance advocating for complete drug legalization to his recent endorsement of Florida's cannabis initiative, his positions reflect a pragmatic adaptation to changing times. While his campaign rhetoric about drug dealers and cartels raised eyebrows, it's crucial to understand that those comments targeted fentanyl traffickers, not the cannabis industry. What makes this moment particularly intriguing is Trump's recent cannabis policy declarations, coupled with his potential appointment of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as his health czar. If you don't know what Robert Kennedy had as his policies, look him up, look up some of his YouTube political campaign speeches, because he was really about redoing nutrition and food and medicine in the United States. And he had some really great ideas. So it could be really clutch if he accepts this position, in my opinion. Wouldn't you say?
He had my vote.
Yeah.
From day one.
Yeah.
I think the Democratic Party messed up and should have made him run. So
yeah. Anyway, back on track. We're not talking about politics per se.
No.
We're talking about cannabis and its future. This combination, along with unified Republican control of Congress, could create an unprecedented opportunity for federal cannabis reform, though perhaps not in a way that many industry observers anticipated. The landscape before us isn't about aggressive federal legalization or social equity programs. Instead, we're looking at the potential for a streamlined, business-friendly approach to cannabis reform that could actually succeed where previous attempts have failed. With Republicans controlling all levels of power, we might finally see a pragmatic path forward that prioritizes state rights, banking access, and basic federal framework over more controversial social programs. As we unpack what cannabis reform might look like under Trump's second term, it's important to understand that the Republican Party of 2024 isn't necessarily the anti-cannabis force it once was. In fact, with the right approach, this could be the breakthrough moment the industry has been waiting for. Trump's approach to cannabis policy has been crystallized into something both pragmatic and distinctly Republican. His recent endorsement of Florida's legislation initiative, though it ultimately fell short of the 60% threshold requirement, signals a significant shift in conservative cannabis politics. Someone should not be a criminal in Florida when this is legal in so many other states, Trump declared, capturing the growing Republican sentiment that criminalization of cannabis may no longer serve conservative interests. What's particularly noteworthy about Trump's current stance is his three-pronged approach to reform. First, he's committed to continuing the Biden administration's push to reschedule cannabis to Schedule III, but with a crucial difference. He's indicated this would be part of a broader strategy to unlock medical research rather than bring that to an end goal, or that being an end goal, Second, he's voiced strong support for banking reform, which could finally resolve the industry's financial access problems. And third, and perhaps most importantly, he's maintained his commitment to states' rights, allowing local markets to develop organically without federal interference.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
I read today that Chris Christie said, I don't remember what news station he was on, said that Trump, after talking to some cannabis industry leaders, might even deschedule it now.
Wow.
So that's what I read from Chris Christie. That didn't come out of Trump's mouth.
Right.
So, or it might have come out of Trump's mouth, but Christie said it. So it may be true, may not be true. But I'm all in for just getting it off.
Yeah.
Freeing it.
Cut to the chase,
Freeing
right?
It. Yeah.
The potential appointment of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as health czar could be a game changer for cannabis policy. Kennedy has been a vocal critic of pharmaceutical industry influence and supports comprehensive drug policy reform. Having him oversee agencies like the FDA, the National Institute on Health, and other health organizations could lead to significant changes in how these bodies approach cannabis research and regulation. His approach could help dismantle some of the institutional barriers that have historically limited cannabis research and development. Trump's administration has also indicated a willingness to work with Congress on common sense laws regarding cannabis. This suggests a shift away from executive action toward legislative solutions, an approach that could prove more durable than administrative rescheduling. While this might seem slower than executive action, it actually addresses the fundamental legal issues that have plagued cannabis reform efforts. What's particularly interesting about Trump's current position is how it differs from his first term. While his previous administration included anti-cannabis figures like Jeff Sessions, Trump's second term team appears to be stacked with more reform-friendly voices. This isn't just about RFK Jr. There are indications that other key appointments could favor a more progressive approach to cannabis policy, albeit through a conservative lens. With many cannabis advocates What many cannabis advocates may not understand is that Republican opposition to cannabis reform has never been about the plant itself. It's been about how legalization is implemented. The GOP's resistance to previous reform efforts has largely centered on their rejection of social equity programs and heavily handed federal oversight rather than opposition to legalization itself. This Republican-controlled Congress presents a unique opportunity for what we might call clean cannabis reform, a bare-bones federal framework that addresses core business issues without the additional layers of social programming that have traditionally stalled legislation. Think of it as Cannabis Reform 2.0, streamlined, business-focused, and built on conservative principles of free market economics and states' rights. Such a framework could include several key elements that Republicans have historically supported, like straightforward licensing that emphasizes merit-based approval rather than demographic quotas, comprehensive banking reform that would allow cannabis businesses to access financial services without jumping through extraordinary hoops, and interstate commerce provisions that would allow states with legal markets to trade with each other, creating a more efficient national market. What makes this approach particularly viable is its alignment with the core Republican values by focusing on reducing government interference, promoting business growth, and respecting state sovereignty. Such legislation could attract broad GOP support. It's worth noting that many Republican legislators who have opposed previous cannabis bills have specifically cited issues with equity provisions and federal overreach, not with legalization itself. Interesting. I didn't know that. I mean, yeah, I just didn't know like that, quite frankly, you know.
Right.
Moreover, the economic arguments for cannabis reform resonate strongly with Republican fiscal priorities. The potential tax revenue, job creation, and economic growth from a properly regulated cannabis industry aligns perfectly with conservative economic objectives. By framing cannabis reform as an economic opportunity rather than a social justice initiative, Republicans could actually move faster on legalization than their Democratic counterparts. This reality creates an interesting paradox. Under unified Republican control, we might actually see more substantial cannabis reform than under divided government, albeit in a different form than many advocates originally envisioned. The key is understanding that Republican support for cannabis reform exists. It just needs to be packaged in a way that aligns with conservative principles. The path to cannabis reform under a Republican-controlled government might actually bypass the bureaucratic quagmire of DEA rescheduling altogether. While the DEA continues to delay hearings until 2025 and beyond, Congress could take direct action to create a new federal framework for cannabis regulation that renders the scheduling debate useless. This isn't just theoretical. There's historical precedent for Congress creating separate regulatory framework for controlled substances. Take alcohol, for example. Rather than trying to reschedule or deschedule alcohol within the Controlled Substance Act, Congress established distinct regulations for its production, distribution, and sale. A similar approach could work for cannabis, creating a clean slate without the baggage of decades-old drug war policies. Under Trump's second term, with Republican control of Congress, we could see legislation that removes cannabis from the Controlled Substance Act entirely, creates a streamlined federal regulatory framework similar to alcohol, establishes clear banking and financial service guidelines, enables interstate commerce between legal states, protects state-level markets from federal interference, and streamlines research permissions and protocols. The key players in making this happen extend beyond Trump himself. RFK Jr.'s potential oversight of health agencies could dramatically reshape how we approach cannabis research and medical applications. The appointment of business-friendly regulators could help create practical framework that promote industry growth while maintaining necessary safeguards. States would continue to serve as laboratories of democracy, maintaining their own regulatory systems while operating within a permissive federal framework. This approach aligns perfectly with traditional values of federalism and states' rights. I think we've heard that a few times.
Yep.
And the timing could actually be perfect. With 38 states having some form of legal cannabis market and more coming online each year, the pressure for federal reform has never been greater. The cannabis industry has matured significantly, developing sophisticated business practices and safety protocols that can inform federal policy. Republicans might also see this as an opportunity to put their stamp on cannabis policy before changing demographics potentially shift control back to Democrats in future elections. By acting now, they could shape the industry's future in ways that align with conservative principles while claiming credit for ending federal prohibition. So, as we look ahead at Trump's second term, it's clear that cannabis reform could take a dramatically different path than expected. A perfect cannabis bill that includes everything on every advocate's wish list has repeatedly failed to gain traction. But a focused bill that addresses core business issues, banking, interstate commerce, and basic federal framework, while respecting state autonomy, could find broad Republican support. By focusing on research, reducing pharmaceutical industry influence, and promoting business development, this approach could create a more sustainable and dynamic cannabis industry than heavy-handed federal regulation would allow. For industry stakeholders, this means adapting strategies and expectations. Rather than pushing for comprehensive reform packages, success might come from supporting targeted legislation that addresses specific issues. We're potentially standing at the threshold of cannabis liberation. Rather than top-down federal control, we might see more organic, market-driven approaches to industry development. While this might seem like a compromise to some advocates, it could ultimately prove more effective at achieving the end of federal cannabis prohibition and allowing the industry to flourish. The next few years will be crucial. Success will depend on the industry's ability to work within this new political reality and support practical, achievable reforms rather than holding out for perfect and unattainable solutions. The path to cannabis liberation might not look exactly as we imagined, but it's becoming increasingly clear. Sometimes, the best way forward isn't the most obvious one, and in this case, conservative pragmatism might accomplish what progressive idealism couldn't, finally ending federal cannabis prohibition in America. Let's just hope it gets done.
Yeah. I don't care who does it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Make sure it's done right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The last 4 years, we had a chance to do it. There was promises made. Not happened.
You're getting political.
No.
I know.
These next 4 years, if it doesn't happen,
Who knows, right?
I'm going to be fucking pissed. Because
You and a lot of people.
That's 8 years now. We're still waiting since 12 years ago when one other president gave it to the states. But still should have taken it off the schedule. So we just been dangling that carrot. So international news. Brazil gives green light to medicinal use of cannabis in animals.
Oh,
Yeah,
in animals?
In animals. Brazil's National Surveillance Agency has approved a regulation allows the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock to oversee the sale of cannabis-based veterinary products, probably CBD. The measure enables veterinarians certified by the Federal Council in Veterinary Medicine to prescribe such products, including those approved by Anvisa for animal use. The new regulation, which amends existing laws, ensures strict controls for the safe and therapeutic use of these products, similar to how controlled medications are prescribed in Brazil. Can't even get legal weed in Brazil, let alone now we're going to give it to animals. I'm an animal. I'm a mammal, part of the animal kingdom. What about me? German Cannabis Club distributes first legal marijuana to members as officials announce broader pilot program sales. Germany's first legal marijuana distribution took place through the Cannabis Social Club in Ganderkesee, marking a milestone in the country's evolving cannabis policies. Following the legalization of personal cannabis use in April 2024, social clubs are allowed to cultivate and distribute marijuana to their members. I want to start a social club. In addition, cities like Frankfurt and Hanover are launching pilot programs to sell cannabis commercially with goals to regulate the market and combat illegal sales. Germany government coalition crisis in cannabis reform at risk. Germany cannabis reform is facing uncertainty due to the collapse of the governing coalition of November 2024. With the potential snap elections in 2025, a shift towards conservative parties, which generally oppose cannabis legalization, could slow the progress. While cannabis legalization is unlikely to be fully rolled back, the future of recreational cannabis clubs and research might experience delays and conservative factions gain more power. Industry leaders express caution and optimism, believing the existing reforms will remain in place despite these challenges. Revolt if they do that. The EU is ready to supply cannabis to the Ukraine, says the Health Ministry. Deputy Health Minister Marian Slobodnichenko said that after legalization of medical cannabis in Ukraine, the European Union announced it is ready to supply medical cannabis to Ukraine. The world of legal cannabis and how it's getting popular in India. The legal cannabis market in India is steadily growing, driven by increasing interest in hemp-based products and CBD and bang for wellness and medicinal purposes. Although cannabis remains controversial, its potential as a viable industry is gaining recognition, especially in the states where commercial hemp cultivation is now allowed. Hemp has proven uses in textiles, construction materials, and sustainable alternative to plastic. The market could reach about $2.1 billion by 2030. Pretty good, India. Man arrested after cannabis cultivation operation uncovered in South Dublin raid. A man has been arrested after drugs worth over $300,000 were seized during the raid in South Dublin. Girardi attached a step-aside station in the DMRE East Drugs Unit as part of the operation. Terra carried out a search of the residential properties area on Sunday. The Netherlands cannabis pilot comes under pressure. This week, the Dutch House of Representatives voted against the proposal to place its long-awaited adult-use cannabis pilot on hold indefinitely. Let's take a deep sigh. Malta, though, Malta. Cannabis clubs continue rapid growth. Of course, because it works. Mm-hmm. Germany, the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. A month after Malta's first cannabis harm reduction association began accepting members, a further 2 associations have now launched. Good for you, Malta. And that was international news. You ever wonder? All right, so I've been wondering this since I was a kid.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
When you saw actors smoking cigarettes and especially smoking weed, I'm like, this is like since I was like young, since I watched Cheech and Chong Up and Smoke and Nice Dreams, and even probably further back than that, Animal House, when they're in the bathtub smoking weed and he's drooling all over the joint. I was a young pup watching these movies, and but I always were they smoking real weed, Mrs. Weedman? Mm-hmm. I found this cool.
Yep.
Tell us about it. I always
wonder though, like cocaine too, like whenever they're doing snorting lines.
I want me some of that.
How are they doing that on a movie?
I want me some of that cocaine.
Here's what actors are smoking instead of weed in movies. Do actors really smoke weed in movies? Some do, most don't. Are movie stars actually getting stoned on set? Probably not. Well, if they're not smoking weed, what are they smoking? This question has boggled my mind for years, especially when watching weed-oriented movies like Pineapple Express or Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke. It's hard to believe that heavy cannabis users like Seth Rogen and Cheech and Chong aren't really smoking up on set. Chances are they're using what's called herbal tobacco, herbal cigarettes that have been around for decades in movies. According to cinematographer and prop master Jeff Butcher, he says herbal cigarettes can be made of anything, like marshmallows and a bunch of different herbs, but they don't have any trace of nicotine. In fact, there are tons of companies that sell buds. While synthetic buds are only used for the visual aesthetic, they're in high demand. Ever watch a movie where scenes featured bags and pounds of cannabis? It was all made in a lab. Funny enough, some prop companies sell a variety of fake cannabis products, including different size buds and shapes and different hues even. So, did they smoke real weed in Pineapple Express? Unfortunately not.
Boo.
This may come as a surprise to some of you who think that Canadian actor Seth Rogen would always smoke up on set. But Rogen keeps things business as usual. That surprises me. I thought, there's certain stoner movies that I thought, why not? There's no harm in it. I'm sure they're using real weed. And then there's old movies where I thought, no way, absolutely not.
Right.
That it had to be fake, right? There are definitely a few instances where real weed was smoked on movie sets. Take The Beach Bum, where Snoop Dogg famously switched prop weed for the real deal in scenes with a blissfully unaware Matthew McConaughey. Then there's Dazed and Confused, where the cast wasn't just acting stoned, they were, especially in the film's climactic scenes. And who could forget How High? Method Man and Redman weren't just playing stoners. They partook in genuine cannabis during key scenes, like that hilarious first meeting in the parking lot. What about other drugs? It's not uncommon to hear about actors using powdered sugar to replace cocaine. You can snort powdered sugar to replace cocaine on set. Some even use baking soda. Now that sounds worse than cocaine. And baby laxatives. Who knew? All right. Well, prop master Jeff Butcher, who worked on the set of Pineapple Express, said that inositol is also a common replacement for cocaine. He explains it's a B vitamin of some kind, adding that it's one of the most common fake cocaine substances on movie sets. Butcher describes the effects as a little energy lift, but it's very mild. We're sorry to say that your favorite actor likely wasn't smoking up on the set of their movie. That joint or bong toke was simply a prop, unless you're watching Snoop Dogg.
Go Snoop. Go Snoop. Oh, what another great banger, Mrs. Weedman.
I just watched the Martha Stewart biography. I think it was on Hulu, Netflix. It was quite great, and she appears to be pretty baked through the whole show. I think she has become quite the
she uses a lot of
connoisseur.
CBD, I remember her saying, right?
Mm-hmm. She was just very extra mellow.
Was she?
And her eyes were a little heavy.
Hanging out with Snoop.
Yep.
You know? So, Mrs. Weedman,
Mr. Weedman.
that's the end of the show.
It is.
Got anything else to say?
Well, have a great week, everybody. Yeah, that's it. Stay well. Be nice, play nice, talk nice. Don't be mean to somebody over who they voted for. Let's all just try to be happy. Yeah. We can do it.
We can do it.
We can do it.
For America.
Yeah.
America. Hey, everybody out there in the world. Thank you for listening. We love you out there. Peace be with you all. Be kind to one another. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.